Welcome back to our channel. Today, we are diving deep into the hidden world of your mind to uncover 7 powerful brain tricks that control your decisions, often without you even noticing. Some of these affect what you buy, some influence who you trust. And the last one we will cover explains why so many of us repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Make sure you stay until the end for that one. Most people believe they are the masters of their own choices. We like to think that our decisions are logical, carefully thought through, and entirely intentional. We weigh the pros and cons, consider the evidence, and arrive at a rational conclusion. But what if I told you that's not how the brain really works? In reality, a huge portion of our decision-making happens on autopilot, guided by ancient survival mechanisms that operate beneath the surface of our conscious awareness. You see, your brain is an incredibly efficient machine, but it's also incredibly lazy. To save precious mental energy, it relies on a set of shortcuts, or what psychologists call heuristic. These mental shortcuts are generally very effective, allowing us to navigate a complex world without getting bogged down by every single choice. They help us make quick judgments and react swiftly. But this efficiency comes at a cost. It makes us predictable, and it opens the door for our choices to be influenced in ways we don't even perceive. So, let's pull back the curtain and look at the first trick your brain plays on you. Brain trick number 1 is the default effect. At its core, your brain has a strong preference for doing nothing over doing something. It favors the path of least resistance. When a choice is already made for you there's a pre-selected option, most people will simply accept it. Think about the default settings on your phone or computer. How many have you actually changed? Or consider those free trial subscriptions that automatically convert to a paid plan. Companies know that most people won't bother to cancel. The brain subconsciously assumes that the default option is the recommended or correct one, as if someone else has already done the thinking for us. Changing the default requires a conscious effort, a decision to act. And as we've established, the brain is programmed to avoid that extra work whenever possible. Now for brain trick number 2, loss aversion. This one is incredibly powerful. To put it simply, your brain hates losing far more than it enjoys winning. Psychological studies have shown that the pain of losing something, say $20, is roughly twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the exact same amount. This deep-seated fear of loss has a huge impact on our behavior. It's why we're often so It's why people will stay in a job they dislike or a relationship that working. The fear of losing what they have feels more daunting than the potential joy of gaining something better. The fear of loss is a primal motivator, often overriding the hope of a potential gain, keeping us stuck in suboptimal situations just to avoid the sting of a negative outcome. Which brings us to brain trick number 3, social proof. Your brain is a social organ, constantly and quietly asking, what is everyone else doing? It's a survival instinct. If you were an early human and saw your entire tribe run away from a rustling bush, you wouldn't stop to investigate. You'd run too. Your brain assumes that if a large number of people are doing something or believe something, it must be the correct or safe thing to do. In the modern world, this translates to likes on social media, 5-star reviews on a product, or a restaurant with a long line outside. These signals don't just inform your decision, they actively guide it. This shortcut worked well in small, trusted communities. But today, in a world of 1 billion internet users, it makes us highly susceptible to manipulation, from viral trends to fake reviews. Let's move on to brain trick number 4, the availability heuristic. This is a fascinating one. Your brain doesn't judge reality based on statistics or facts. Instead, it judges what is likely or common based on how easily an example comes to mind. If something is vivid, dramatic, recent, or emotionally charged, your brain assumes it happens all the time. This is why people tend to overestimate the risk of shark attacks or plane crashes. They are heavily covered in the media, making them memorable and readily available in our minds, even though they are statistically very rare. On the flip side, we underestimate silent, slow-moving risks, like heart disease. Your brain makes a critical error. It confuses how memorable something is with how probable it is. Next up, brain trick number 5, confirmation bias. Your brain doesn't just like being right. It's practically addicted to it. Once you form a belief or make a decision, your brain actively seeks out information and evidence that supports it. At the same time, it will conveniently ignore, discredit, or downplay any information that challenges that belief. You're not consciously seeking the objective truth. You're subconsciously seeking consistency. Being wrong creates cognitive dissonance, an uncomfortable mental state that the brain works hard to avoid. So instead of updating our beliefs with new evidence, we filter reality to fit our existing worldview. This makes it incredibly difficult to change our minds, even when we're presented with facts. Now for brain trick number 6, the anchor effect. The very first piece of information you hear about something, especially a number, sets a powerful mental anchor, a reference point that influences all subsequent judgments. Once that anchor is set, everything else is evaluated in relation to it. A car that's listed for $50,000 but discounted to $40,000 feels like a great deal, even if the car is only worth the initial $50,000 price anchored your perception of its value. This works with more than just prices. First impressions, initial estimates, and the first idea raised in a meeting all act as anchors that can be surprisingly difficult to move away from. What's truly wild is that the anchor works even when it's completely random and meaningless. Your brain just can't fully ignore it once it's there. And finally, we've arrived at brain trick number 7, and in many ways, it's the most powerful and insidious one of all. The illusion of explanatory depth. This is the tendency for people to believe they understand a topic in far greater detail than they actually do. Things feel familiar to us, so we mistake that feeling of familiarity for genuine understanding. You might feel like you know how a zipper or a bicycle works. The concepts are familiar, but if you were asked to explain the precise mechanical steps, you'd likely find yourself stumbling. It's only when you're forced to explain something that the gaps in your knowledge suddenly appear. This illusion creates dangerous overconfidence. It's why we repeat the same mistakes in our lives, our relationships, or our work. We think we understand why things went wrong, so we don't investigate deeply enough. You can't fix a problem you don't realize you fundamentally misunderstand. Now, it is important to understand that these brain tricks are not bugs or flaws in your mental software. They are features, they are efficiency tools, evolved over millennia to help the brain process an overwhelming amount of information quickly and make snap judgments to keep us safe. But in our modern world, this efficiency has a cost: less conscious awareness and more predictability. The key takeaway here isn't that you're doomed to be a puppet of your own mind. Simply understanding that these tricks exist doesn't make them magically disappear. But awareness is the first and most crucial step. It creates a space between a stimulus and your reaction. It allows you to hit the pause button, and in that moment of pause, you reclaim your power to choose. You can ask yourself, am I choosing this because I want to, or because it's the default? Am I avoiding this risk out of a rational fear, or just because I hate the idea of losing? Am I liking this because it's good, or because everyone else likes it? The truth is, you don't make decisions in a vacuum. Your brain is your silent co-pilot, quietly nudging you every single step of the way. The more you learn about its hidden habits, the more intentional and ultimately more free your choices will become. Thanks for watching this video. Complex ideas simply explained. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more dives into the fascinating world of your mind.